Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we're going to finish up the duo of films starring that family that is creepy and kooky, mysterious and spooky. They are altogether ooky. They are the Addams Family. And today we're going to discuss Addams Family Values, starring Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, Christopher Lloyd, Christina Ricci, Jimmy Workman, Joan Cusack, David Krumholtz, and Mercedes McNabb. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And as I said in the introduction, today we're going to close out the duo of Addams Family movies, rounding out those films of the TV families of the spooky. New release Saturday was The Munsters, yesterday was The Addams Family, and today, Addams Family Values. Got to have a little something in there to kind of be kid friendly amidst all the slasher stuff. So let's get into it here, shall we? As our movie opens, Morticia is rushed to the hospital as she has gone into labor with her and Gomez's new son, Pubert. After the baby is born, they hire Debbie Jelinski to be Pubert's nanny. This is primarily done after Pubert's older siblings, Wednesday and Pugsley, have attempted and failed to kill Pubert numerous times. Now, unbeknownst to the Addams family, Debbie is a serial killer known as the Black Widow, as she murders rich bachelors in order to collect their inheritances. Debbie begins to seduce Uncle Fester, and Wednesday begins to become suspicious of her intentions. So, in order to maintain her cover, Debbie tricks Gomez and Morticia into believing that Wednesday and Pugsley want to go to summer camp. Wednesday and Pugsley are then sent to Camp Chippewa, which is managed by the always cheerful and lively Gary and Becky Granger. Wednesday and Pugsley constantly get singled out by the counselors, as well as the popular and snobbish Amanda Buckman, for their macabre appearance and behavior. Now, Joel Glicker, a nerdy bookworm and fellow camp outcast, becomes attracted to Wednesday, while back at home, Fester and Debbie become engaged. At her bachelorette party, Debbie is repulsed by the Addams family and their relatives. On their honeymoon, she tries to kill Fester by throwing a boombox into the bathtub, but she fails. Frustrated, Debbie forces Fester to cut ties with his family, and when they try to visit Fester and Debbie at their home, they are removed from the premises. Meanwhile, as a result of a disrupted home life, Pubert transforms into a blonde haired, blue eyed, rosy cheeked baby, leaving Gomez horribly depressed as a result. Back at camp, the counselors cast Wednesday as Pocahontas in Gary's Thanksgiving play. When she refuses to participate, she, Pugsley, and Joel are all sent to the camp's hideaway hut, where they are forced to watch Bambi, Lassie Come Home, The Little Mermaid, The Sound of Music, The Brady Bunch, and Annie. Afterwards, the three fake cheerfulness, and Wednesday agrees to take part in the play. However, during the performance, she reveals her deception and returns to her old self, staging a coup with the help of Pugsley, Joel, and the other outcast campers. They are able to capture Amanda, Gary, and Becky and set the camp on fire. Later, Wednesday and Joel share their first kiss before separating for a long time, with Joel staying behind to lead their friends to ensure the camp's permanent destruction, while Wednesday and Pugsley return home via a hijacked camp van. Debbie tries to kill Fester by blowing up their mansion, but he survives. She then pulls a gun on him, revealing that she never loved him and that she was only interested in him for his money. Thane arrives and drives Debbie's car into her, allowing Fester to escape. Upon his return to the Addams home, Fester apologizes to Gomez. Wednesday and Pugsley then return, reuniting the family together. Debbie then takes another car and drives to Fester's home, where she ties the family to electric chairs and explains, while the Addamses listen sympathetically, about how she killed her parents and two previous husbands for incredibly frivolous and materialistic reasons. Upstairs, the now restored to normal Pubert escapes from his crib. And in a series of improbable events, is propelled into the room where the family is being held. When Debbie throws the switch to electrocute them, Pubert is able to manipulate the wires, reversing the current and electrocuting her instead, incinerating her into a pile of ash and credit cards by rescuing all of his family members from their deaths, fulfilling the family's creed of vengeance against those who cross them. Sometime later, at Pubert's first birthday party, which is being attended by the entire Addams clan, as well as Joel, Fester laments the loss of Debbie, but soon becomes smitten with dementia, the new nanny for the child of cousin It and his wife, Margaret. In the family graveyard, Wednesday tells Joel that Debbie was a sloppy killer and that she would just scare her husband to death. As Joel goes to lay flowers on Debbie's grave, a hand emerges from the earth and grabs him. He screams while Wednesday smiles, and our movie comes to its end. Addams Family Values, while not as good as or superior to its predecessor, is still damn good in its very own ways. I loved the summer camp aspect of it. I loved the introduction of David Krumholtz. This was the first time I had ever seen David Krumholtz, even though when I saw this film back in my younger days in movie theaters, I had no idea who David Krumholtz was. But this was my first exposure to him. Figure a year or two later, he's Bernard in the Santa Claus. So you go straight from the spooky to Christmas. Hence that meme that floats around every now and again during the holidays. You know, October 31st, November 1st. October 31st is the image of him basically looking like a little Gomez Addams from the end of this movie. November 1st is him as Bernard. Makes perfect sense. Joan Cusack was a great villain. She definitely knows how to walk that line. Like, there's a lot of movies I like her in where she's good and sweet and wholesome, and then there's plenty of stuff that I like her in, and she's the villain. She's dirty, she's underhanded, she's snarky, she's sarcastic. And all the while, she still looks gorgeous doing it. Of course, most people know Joan Cusack as the voice of Jessie the Yodeling Cowgirl from the Toy Story movies, starting with Toy Story 2 and then forward. But like, you've got this, you've got toys, you've got It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas movie, you've got High Fidelity, you've got Say Anything, you've got Shameless. She was on the first couple seasons of the US version of Shameless. She's been around so long. She's got such a storied career. I just love watching Joan Cusack. Again, Raul Julia and Angelica Houston were just amazing as Gomez and Morticia. Same with Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester. Jimmy Workman as Pugsley, didn't really talk about him yesterday. An amazing job as Wednesday's brother, as the other Addams kid, at least until Pubert came along. I feel like he's very underrated because people forget about him. I forgot about him yesterday. Everyone talks about Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, Christopher Lloyd, Christina Ricci. What was the guy's name that played Pugsley? It could just be because he didn't have as big of a career coming out of it as Christina did. Could just be the reason right there. But Jimmy Workman did a great job as Pugsley. I would take my hat off to you, Jimmy, but then I'd knock off my headset. But kudos to you on an amazing performance in both movies. I'm curious to know what you guys think of Addams Family Values because, like I said, overall sequels are inferior. And we'll get to that a little bit later on this week when we talk about Scream 2, because that's a whole topic of conversation in the movie. But while not as good as or superior to the predecessor, I still think it did damn good in its own right, to the point where I'm going to give Addams Family Values 3.5 out of 5 stars. Not 4 like I gave the original, but just a half star down. 3.5 out of 5 stars for Addams Family Values. What do you guys think? Let me know if you're watching the premiere. Leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's engage, let's discuss, let's conversate, let's debate, let's have that interaction in the comments below. What are your thoughts of Addams Family Values? Make sure you guys tune in at the top of the hour, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as over on the Jeff Meacham Network, as Jeff Meacham and I discuss the top 10 females to never hold a WWE World Singles title. The all-new installment of The Dads, Not Always on Wrestling. Jeff and I are going to get into that, break that conversation down, dissect that topic. Who do you think are some of the greatest women to perform in the WWE that never held a World Singles title? Let us know. And then tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, it'll be time for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And we're going to get back to the spooky a little bit, leave the kid-friendly stuff behind us. We're going to be discussing Wes Craven's Scream, starring Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan, Skeet Ulrich, Jamie Kennedy, Liev Schreiber, Drew Barrymore, Henry Winkler, and Wes Craven. And then at the top of the hour after that, it'll be time for another edition of Stat Boy Sports Bar featuring Dory Lou. The food is hot, the beer is ice cold, and the seats are warm, so grab a bar stool and engage in some professional sports conversation with your hosts, Stat Boy Mike Caldwell and his trusty assistant, Dory Lou. You're not going to want to miss out on any of that content, both right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as over on the Jeff Meacham Network. Scream, Stat Boy Sports Bar, Dad's Not Always on Wrestling. So much coming up the next couple of days. You're not going to want to miss out. To all my loyal fans and friends out there, thank you for tuning in and joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on. That way you get alerted anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. That way you get alerted anytime we go live right here on the channel, as is the case with Stat Boy Sports Bar, as is the case with Open Mic Night, pay-per-view PLE coverage. All that stuff is live. You don't want to miss out when we do that. Make sure you share this video with your family, friends, loved ones, co-workers, movie fanatics, cinephiles, fans of the Addams Family, fans of Angelica Houston, Raul Julia, Christina Ricci, Christopher Lloyd, anybody you can think of that would enjoy this content, this video, fans of David Krumholtz or Joan Cusack, share this video with them. It's the only way we're going to boost up my visibility in the YouTube algorithms so I can eventually get monetized, make some money at this endeavor. Thank you once again to everyone who tuned in and joined me here today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.